morning. Welcome to another episode of Papa's Workshops. These are for Adam, Brady, Luke, and Brenna. But before we get started today, we need to check in with my assistant. There's my Molly girl. You like a little treat? She works for food, so that works out pretty well. So we got to continue with all the joinery on we're doing the lower case of the Newport Secretary. So we got to do all the joinery before we start gluing up. So we got a lot of work to do. All right, here's one more step. This is the bottom, and I haven't glued the cherry front on it yet. I just went ahead and did these. These are the screw holes to screw it to the bottom base assembly of the frame, and we need the case to move, so I've got slotted holes, and I just did that with a Forstner bit to make the recess, drill 2 holes, and then take the chisel and just clean out the space in between. And there's one other little thing we got to do before I glue the two together. We've got this faux dovetail on the bottom. See, there's the dovetails for the blades, and it shows you where the beads are. And so we've got the same kind of a deal at this. We got the 2 beads meeting, and so we have the dovetail come off of that. But we go straight down because the bottom is going to be blind dovetailed from the bottom. I mean, we're going to put it in from the bottom. So we need that. We can't have the full dovetail there. It would be too weak anyway. But we need to go all the way up. So we're gonna wait till we do the slots and the dovetails, do this faux one in the front, and then we'll finally be able to glue that front onto the bottom, rest of the bottom. All right, we're ready to start putting some slots in the sides, and I started out with a storage stick. I put a washer on the ends so just to be able to hook it, and see, I've got everything marked where all the stuff needs to go, and so I put that on each board and marked out the locations of everything on the sides. That way, when I'm flipping around on the router table, I've got to make sure I'm where the marks are supposed to be. So we'll get started with the sliding dovetails first. All right, we got the sliding dovetails in just a little ways. We don't go the whole way across the side here, or the case. So I got front and back. So we've got the 2 blades, the desktop, 2 blades, and then the little bit, the faux one on the bottom. So now what I'm going to do before, we have to cut a recess where this red area is for the applied bead on the front of the case. And we need to I'm going to use that same setting to make a recess from across the side from front to back, and then that's what the drawer runner will sit into just a little bit. That'll make all the joinery a little easier. So what I've done is I've made the dovetails on the 2 back blades. There's the sliding dovetails on the back blades, and I'm using those 2 to orient this. So I just got 2 pieces of MDF I use for edge guides, and I clamped them against the rails. So now I'm just going to use this little pilot bit and create that recess, and then I'll finish the rest of it out to the edge with the by hand. So we do that on the 2 blades in the desktop. The bottom, of course, gets blind dovetailed. It doesn't have that. So all right, got the slots all done. You can see that fits right in there, the rails for the, so that's where we want to be. So we got to do the other one, and then we got to put the recess in the front. All right, we got the recess in the front done, and now now we can fit the front pieces, see, because we've got that, the dovetail isn't as deep, right? Because of the recess. Other cases I've made like this, I put the bead on the case itself rather than applied, and that created some work where you've got to put the chamfers on the corner to make up that difference and fit everything. I'm hoping that this is an easier method. This is the way the original was done, with the applied bead on there. So we'll fit the front part of the blades on the two blades, the faux bottom, which I went ahead and cut straight out, and then the desktop. We'll fit those three pieces, and that's always, we got the dovetails, the sliding dovetails done in the side and the blade fronts, and here's one that's in there. So now we just have to adjust the depth, square this off, or cut off the dovetail on that so that they're flush. I had to trim, there was a little bit of the bead material still there, so I had to carefully trim that off. Had one that broke, so I need to glue that back on. And we did the faux front. I don't know if you can see that little bit of edge there. I did that on the front piece. So now we're ready to glue the front edge to the main part of the bottom. So that's what that's all about. So now it's just a matter of fitting the pieces of the blades, and then we'll dry assemble that, and then we'll be ready to do the blind dovetails. Okay, I got the desktop fit to in the sliding dovetails there, and we got the bead on the front, and we are pretty much set. We just got to do that on all the other pieces, get them all fit. That's what the blade looks like when it's put in. So we're progressing. All right, we're still working on the joinery. There's one more thing before I do the dovetails. Is we've got this lid support. This little piece here slides out, so we got to build a structure like this to support that. This vertical piece is only 4 or 5 inches in length. That's enough to keep the pull out, parallel to the case. So that's no big deal. But this bottom rail, I've got it drawn going the whole way, but it only needs to go 12 or 15 inches back. But I'm going to put a dado for that piece to ride in the case while I've got the router and everything else out from the other joinery. And then we'll have to do a little bit of, in the desktop, there needs to be a little dado for that piece, and in the top blade. So we'll have to kind of piece that together. But so what I've got here is I just stuck some pieces in the slot for the desktop, and then it's supposed to be this would be that runner. It's supposed to be down 1 inch and 13/16. So I cut that little piece just for that, and then so I've wedged this piece that we want the dado for in there. So now I'll just take these two guys out and the middle piece, and then we'll run the router and make just a little shallow recess, 1/8 of an inch. It isn't important the depth, and we'll do that on both sides. All right, we got it's a stop dado, so we got that cut, and I straighten the ends with a chisel, and so our piece will just fit. All right, the one right here, that will just fit right in there. And you see, I made the slot a little long in case the case shrinks a little bit. That's maybe make it a little longer. But so now the 4-inch wide pieces, we'll need to make the corresponding slot in there, or dado, but it's going to be longer. All right, it's going to be 1/8 of an inch into either one of those, so we'll probably do those in the desktop and the blade first, so we know our length, and then we'll position it to match up to the one there. All right, there's the stop dado and the underside of the desktop edge. And I just did these by hand. It isn't worth setting up any sort of jig. But that's how it'll set. And we just need to do the same thing in the blade. There, I've got the line marked. And I just used a setup block. That's my distance from the edge. Scribed 2 lines and chiseled it out, and then clean it up with a little router plane. So I got to do that 3 more places, and then we'll have to assemble it in the case side to get the matching part and mark where it's going to be, because it's not the same length as the dovetails, so we'll have to get it all back where it should be. All right, I got the stop dados done in the desktop, the underside of the desktop. If I can get this out of there. There. So it's in the 2 pieces. So now we need to do the same on the blade. All right, I've dry assembled the case to get the length of our support here right, and so everything fits together pretty good, both sides. And looks like I got a little bit of that corner broke off. I have to fill that with something. But otherwise, we look pretty good. So now we need to put this dado here, we need to put on this side. So we need to cross that over. Then we can put our rail support in there. And then when it's done, there'll be a filler that hides the hole when the top drawer is open. So that helps. There's no weight on this until it's pulled out and the desk lid is on it, and then somebody's leaning on it. So all the force will be down right here in the front. So that support, along with the dados, will hold that and secure that strong. And in the back, the force is going to be up as we push down in front. It'll be a lever action, and so that's why we got the desktop and the dado too. So there'll be plenty of support for all that. And I did end up making this a little narrower than what the piece will be, because the shell on the lid sticks out a little bit, and I didn't want that to hit. And we may still have to take a notch out of it, but I made that a little narrower. But the front piece, see, the drawer will be, this is the dado for the bead, but it's 7/8 of an inch is what the drawer front will be right there. And so we'll have our little block up here. It's the front piece of that rail. That will be the 7/8 thing, and we'll make it the proper size. It's that 1 3/16 that follows the blocking all the way down. So that is right in line with that. And then it's the depth or the height is right in line with the blocking across the top. All righty, we got our little rail put in. The dado is longer so that I can get that flush in that dado and then slide it in. So that's just for ease of assembly. And I made this little cap piece. You can see right through. That's where our pullout will be. And then our drawer front will cover this. And this is what this little piece looks like. So it just fits right in there, like so. And I don't know, I may put a nail in there, or or just glue, maybe a dowel or something to hold it in. So we are pretty much ready to, we've got some dados in the back. You can see those two lines are. That's going to be for the dividers on the gallery of drawers on top. And the top of this lower case is going to have the same dividers in there too. But I think I'm going to do the dovetails next. And well, I got to do there's a rabbet in the back, along the back, that we have to do right here. You see this focus? There we go. This line right there. We got to make a rabbet for the case back, and that will. I kind of need to know that when I do the dovetails, because that's going to be gone up there. So we'll do that next, and then we'll start the dovetails. While I had this together, I was going to lay out the 45 for the desk front, but I think I need to wait for the hinges. I've ordered the hinges. It all depends where that pivot point is. I'm going to try to make it right at that corner. But we have the thickness of the desktop, the relief. It has a lip on it, so that what's under the lip is about 5/8. So this is about 5/8. Anyway, so that line I made with this and spaced it out the 5/8 with this board. So that's close, but we need to have it. We really kind of need to have the hinges to be sure, because if that, that isn't cut right where the door is, that'll be too high, or it won't close because it'll be too high, and it'll if it's too low, then there'll be a gap there. And that kind of depends on the top too. We'll have to trim the top to make it, rest there. It doesn't have to be exactly 45, but it does have to match exactly at this pivot point. It has to radiate out from there. So we need to wait for the hinges. All right, we got the rabbets done. So I roughed that out on the table saw, and then cleaned it up with my rabbet plane. So it's 1/2 inch deep this way, and then down flush with the dado, or the slotted dovetails. So we'll do that on the other pieces, then we'll be ready for the next session. We'll do the blind dovetails on the top and the bottom.